So, it's been a hell of a week for Rick and the gang. As we ended the last season, Rick had to shoot Porch Dick in the face just as Morgan walked up. Old friends meeting again for the first time. But now, there's an army of walkers, a herd, a gigantic herd, living right around the corner from Alexandria. And Rick and the gang's got to take care of it if they expect to survive. It's a hell of an opening for Season 6, Episode 1 of The Walking Dead. First time, again. So Season 6 opens big, huge. Thousands of walkers, easily more walkers than they've ever had in the show before, and really impressive. In fact, this is more of what I wanted to see in Fear the Walking Dead. But perhaps this is why we didn't, is they did not want to detract from the intensity and the magnitude that the flagship series of Walking Dead, its Season 6 opener, was going to present. And it did not let us down. Now, it's a 90-minute episode, a little longer than your regular episodes, but again, filled with intensity and excitement. They do a little back and forth of time traveling, taking up just after Morgan's arrival at the end of last season to catching up to what, again, is about a week later. And they do a nice job of giving the past in the black and white tones versus the present in color. Adds a nice intensity, it adds a nice level to it. And it does remind me of AMC's reissue of the first season of Walking Dead, which they had done in black and white, which still, of course, maintains the level of quality, the visceral feel of the episodes, but adding sort of a classic Night of the Living Dead vibe to the whole thing. And that really carries on in this episode as well. So, in the midst of this monumental task to move this giant horde and herd of walkers, there are a lot of tiny character moments, usually reflecting back in the past, that establish a lot of themes for this episode. The fact that they're all done in black and white, I think, adds an extra intensity to it. But these conversations tend to reveal around people's ability to change and trust. Maggie's conversation with Tara about Glenn and the guy who tried to kill him, and now Glenn is allowing to live, giving the chance to change, to become something else. Morgan's discussion with Rick on the porch, about him knowing Rick, trusting who Rick's character is. These are very important themes within this episode. Also, counter to that, people's inability to change. And Carter sort of represents that. Though at the end, he does have some transition for him. He does have a certain appreciation for what Rick and the gang is doing. But Rick's little speech with him about why he didn't kill him, that someone like that is going to die anyway, that this world is going to weed them out. Rick has trust that that's how the world is going to work. Morgan's having trust of what Rick's actual character is. Even though Rick is trying to be hard, trying to be that cold, calculating individual, he does have a heart. And his attempt to try and just bury the body, Porch Dick's body, out in the woods, he wasn't going to worry. He wanted to just drop him off. But Morgan knew that that's not the character he was. And certainly, once his son shows up, Porch Dick's son shows up and confronts Rick that he wanted to find out where his father was buried, Rick can't go back. Rick can't, even with the giant horde of walkers, even knowing that the threat that is right there that they have to go and deal with immediately, Rick's still going to take the time to bury the body because that is who he is. And there are flies out here, lots and lots of flies. And also, let's not forget Nicholas's redemption act with Glenn at the gas station. Glenn did not want to bring him along, and understandably so. Nicholas tried to kill him. He was responsible for Noah's death. But everything fell apart at the last moment. Nicholas really wanted to go on. Glenn needed people, and he was there. And the fact that he was able to step forward to admit the mistakes that he made. He told Heath, hey, Glenn's been doing runs since he got here the past few weeks. He's doing it right. We were doing it wrong. That is a big evolution and a big step up. And when Nicholas was able to save Heath's life, stabbing that one walker, and then Glenn giving Nicholas that last walker to kill, go take care of it, I think was a nice evolutionary step for this character, a nice redemptive arc, which he really needs. Now, some of the nicer little moments of the episode: walker tactics, lining up the road with all of the abandoned cars, the use of flares, the use of improvised and built walls to direct the movement of this massive herd of walkers. This was a thing of beauty to see. Just a culmination of the intelligence of experiences. These tactics, they work. They work beautifully. Well, they worked until all the way to the end, but that wasn't really their fault. And it was just really nice to see these kind of thought out, planned experiences about, instead of so many things that are partially improvised and then all go to hell and then everybody panics. This was just a brilliant use of preparation in dealing with the walkers. The other huge moment for me personally is Scaredy Carol. Scaredy Carol is hilarious. Oh my God, this seems terrifying. What are we gonna do? But I think Rick's the one that knows. Just a perfect way of keeping her in the background, keeping her character, as far as the Alexandrians seeing it, in place, but still supporting Rick, still pushing things in those behaviors. And then, of course, the subsequent little exchange between Morgan and Carol. Morgan sees right through it. Carol's not ready to reveal herself to this guy yet. She sees that he sees, but doesn't know him well enough, doesn't trust, has not developed that trust that we were mentioning before with Morgan to really expose who she is, to acknowledge that what he is seeing and saying is the truth. So, by the end of the episode, it seems that the group has succeeded in their mission. The guys on Folks are about to take off and allow Sasha, Abraham, and Daryl to lead the herd another 20 miles, very slowly Pied Piper-esque, into the distance, and thus keeping Alexandria free. Last few couple maneuvers, which unfortunately lead to Rick's prediction of Carter's death. He will get himself killed, and does. He gets his face bitten off. Lovely little moment, and Rick has to kind of put him out of his misery. One, because he's going to turn into Walker, and two, because Carter is screaming his face off. His momentary, just before this, acknowledgement to Rick that Rick was right now plays into full chaos, as with his bite he is screaming and yelling and drawing all of the walkers off the road. So Rick has to put him out of his misery, get everyone else firing guns out to draw the walkers back. And it appears that this final move, this final clusterfuck was avoided, and they were able to successfully move on. Until somebody starts blaring a horn. And this draws all the walkers off the road. They are in the perfect position to head off the road and head directly en masse in a very wide arc right onto Alexandria, where the horn appears to be coming from. But we don't know. This is where things end, with the group running frantically back to town to try and stop this. All of their plans have now gone to hell. Who's hitting the horn? Where are they hitting it? Is it in the town? Is it outside of town? And what about the extra people that Rick put on guard? Why are they allowing this to happen? We don't know. Is it the wolves? That's a pretty good likelihood. Wolves not far. That was how the season ended last, and we know they're going to be coming in en masse in spades in this next season. So this could be them. Maybe it's the priest going nuts again. Gabriel, he's very unpredictable. Rick very wisely did not bring him onto the group that was taking care of the mission, but now he is left in town. Is he causing more problems? Very hard to tell, but we're going to find out next week on The Walking Dead. If you enjoyed what I had to say, please hit like, feel free to subscribe, leave comments in the section below. This is how I know what I'm doing. If there's something else that you guys want to see, things that you wanted to adjust. Catch me up at Twitter. I'm at Darren Jakes. In the meantime, I'm getting out of these woods. Y'all take it easy. We'll see you next time. I'm D. I'm out of here.